This cut stage is super cool. Hey.
Didn't mean to completely cut you off there.
Sorry.
Welcome to the stream.
Welcome. Hey.
Before we get too into things, I'd like to read a donation real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
From PokeFandom, we got $9 saying, "Put this towards the true best anime, Aladdin, run by everyone's favorite boy, Ribbed Killa."
Thank you for that donation. Now, with that in mind, Aladdin is very far behind at this point and is basically on life support, so we need some donations for Aladdin if you guys want to see that. But nobody has donated for best anime yet, so that's still up for grabs.
Oh, that's the important one right there.
But in any case, we're here now, we're all set up. I think we've got the 4-player Mega Man race ready to go, so if we want to get those guys readied up in the race chat here, we can probably get this race started, actually.
Yeah, while I'm telling them we're ready, Andy, you want to plug the cool prize we got during this block?
Sure. Oh my god, I lost all my tabs. Hold on. I found it. Alright. So, if you donate $5 during this Mega Man 1-6 block, you'll get a cute Mega Man button set made by the very own Christmas of Donkey Kong fame. I'll post a link in chat.
Yeah, so you have a whole almost 2 hours here to donate for that. By the way, for those of you that were wondering, as we trailed off the end of the last run, if you're wondering where RKSF is, we had a bunch of schedule concerns from some of the runners, so we shifted some games around to accommodate for that. We didn't want to cut anybody from the marathon, so this is the best solution we had. So, unfortunately, if you're looking for that run, it'll be a little bit later, but it will be there. And I see we've got a memer on the stream here. Who could that be? Oh my goodness. Jeez, never saw that coming. Nero X2.
Okay.
Okay.
Shall we?
I think we're ready to play.
All right.
It's going to be crazy. Okay.
All right. All right.
Here we go.
Before we start. Oh, okay, go for it.
Underway.
Oh, which guy, Andy?
I was just going to plug that we have the Oracle of Ages friend bidding war still going. That's coming up next. File names are still pretty open and out there.
All right. Go ahead, Chumley. Take us away.
Alright. So this is 46 Robot Masters. That means these guys are going to be playing Mega Man 1-6, but they're only going to be playing the Robot Master stages. They're not going to go into the castles at all. So on final hit on most bosses, that's when they'll switch games, except for in Mega Man 1, because you do have to collect the orb. So they have to make sure that they do grab that before they leave Mega Man 1. Other than that, there's not really any other specific rules other than, obviously, go fast. So there's not a whole lot to say about cut stages. To be honest, one of the more boring stages in Mega Man 1. It's just sort of progress through them. There's no real crazy tech other than, when you take damage, you want to hit the select button, because hitting select will reset your momentum, and so therefore you can cancel like your knockback and things like that. As well, it can be used to pause the game for like boss fights and things like that, and that allows us to keep bosses sort of frozen in place while we can keep a shot over top of their hitbox and sort of make the fights incredibly easy. So there's some kind of good use of that throughout this entire game.
So, it's kind of a brief overview of our competitors. Top left, you have Fastatcc. For those who don't know, he is actually the world record holder in this category. He's got the 141. Really good. He's just all around great classic Mega runner. He has great times in every single one of them from 1-6. So definitely really just good classic Mega player in general. On your top right, we have Nero. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Nero. He actually did a run for us earlier in JRTA. We had the great Mario Party 2 race against Oxwas. That was always a treat. But yeah, Nero actually picked this category up not very recently, about 3-4 months ago. We had a big 46 Robot Master tournament that Nero participated in, and he actually won the whole thing. Yeah, won the whole thing. So he picked up these games really in fast order, and he managed to get a really fast time. So On your bottom left, we have Ohon. I'm sure he's no stranger to many of you. He is basically, for a while, he was pretty much the king of Classic Mega. He had records, I think as many as 3 records at a time. So
Yeah,
he's
crazy.
He's insane. He unfortunately didn't enter the 46 Robot Master tournament, but still has a fantastic time. I believe he's number 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. He came back to play this category for like a couple days or something, and got a pretty good time. He used to hold the record in this category for a really long time, and I like to point that out because he did 1 run. Like, he didn't grind it at all. He just did 1 run, and that record stood for like quite a long time. So it's really good.
Yeah, and then not to be outdone, of course, is Prisi on your bottom right. He's put a lot of time into this category. Like Fast, he's very good at all 6 Mega Mans. He has a time in all of them. Really good times in all of them. I believe he's the 2nd place time now. He and Fast in the 46 Robot Master Tournament had a fantastic race. They finished within 4 seconds of each other. It was insane. For an hour and 45-minute game, that's absurd. So definitely look out for him. And yeah, I guess we want to explain what's going on right now.
Yeah, so these guys are clipping through the wall, as you can see. Ooh, and Prisi gets the top eject as well out of the wall. That's really nice. But these guys have to sort of get themselves glitched into the wall and inch forward to grab the Magna Beam. They can't just hold left there. You got to be really careful, because if they end up going into that 2x2 tile square, they'll soft lock. So all runners were in, all runners are out. So good to see that we will not be seeing any people having to reset, because there is no password system in this game. That would be a pretty punishing start.
Certainly would. Andy, you got a quick donation? Go for it.
Sure. We got $5 from Rambling Josh. I'm not gonna lie, I mostly just want the buttons.
Agreed.
Thanks, Josh.
Nice.
If you want the $5 to go to anything, just let me know in chat.
So it's kind of a scary section that all the runners are in right now. The climb up the stairs.
Yeah.
If you could be just slightly off here, as you can kind of see going on an Ohon screen, you get hit, and it's just a lot slower in order to climb up. So really precise section that most of them were able to navigate fairly well.
Yeah. Ohon and Fasta had a little bit of trouble there. Nero and Prisi looked really good there. So Prisi, right on the heels here. Fasta pretty much equal, and Nero right behind them. Ohon coming into the final room. So not that far behind, really.
Yep. I mean, it's an hour and 45-minute game.
Yeah, this category, like, it's almost 2 hours long. So a lot of critical errors. I mean, a lot of little things can add up over time, but typically in this category we see more bigger mistakes cause the win versus the loss. So deathless runs become very important if you want to have a really solid time, obviously, but even more so just because of how long the category is.
Absolutely. So if you kind of see in fast screen, you're going to kind of see the great usage, hopefully, if it gets it right, of magnet and why it's so powerful. So if you do pixel perfect, there you go, perfect. If you do a pixel perfect magnet at the right section, basically what happens is Mega Man gets stuck in the ceiling and in the magnet beam. So the game doesn't know what to do. So instead, if you just turn the opposite direction, it zips you in the opposite direction. So as you can see, Fast and Nero are both kind of using that to their advantage and just like going through sections a lot faster than they normally should, kind of screen wrapping through sections and just getting them through. Like you didn't even see the Yoku block puzzle because they just go straight through it.
Yeah, and everybody, even Ohon here, just coming up behind them here, everybody got the wrap, so that's really... Well, he got it, and then he got sub-pixeled or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's too bad. But yeah, that wrap saves quite a bit of time, because then you don't have to even use the beam to avoid the Yoku blocks. You can just... You land on the other side, like it's perfect. Mm-hmm. Kind of unfortunate there for Ohon there, but...
So you guys see on fast screen, but you're going to see in Nero screen in just a second. Select is a very powerful thing in this game. It basically allows you to bypass the invulnerability period, because the invulnerability period is still going, but everything is of course still constant. So once you keep pressing select on and off in proper timing, and it's like you're doing damage every frame. So it's really powerful to be using throughout Mega Man 1. So it's kind of a common thing.
Yeah. You'll notice that throughout Mega Man 1 and 2, obviously there is no slides, so the zips become pretty important to save time. Like Darkman said earlier, the zips in Mega Man 1 being all pixel perfect, they do require your setups to be pretty obviously precise, and by that I mean perfect. So you want to have setups that work, but also aren't, too risky because, you don't want to waste too much beam and then find out you can't zip in the end anyway. So the setups for Mega Man 1 are a little bit tougher. When we see them get to Mega Man 2, you'll actually see the zips be a little bit easier to trigger.
So you're going to see in fast screen coming up, he's going to attempt the fire wrap. So yeah, all these wraps are pixel perfect, so they have to be on the exact pixel in order to make it work. So
yeah,
it looks a little bit weird, but just go with it. He's doing a bunch of nonsense and it all works.
Yeah, and like the ladders become very useful. Like you see Nero right now, he's not even doing the ladder setup, so it's a lot tougher. And he looks like he's still gonna get it. Yep, very nice. So a faster setup there for Nero, gets him some time back on Fasta.
Yeah, looks like yep. So Prisi is right behind, not too far away, and it's not too far away. It's an hour and 45-minute game. Even if people don't die, they can easily make 20 to 30 seconds worth of mistakes in just a matter of a minute. So, this definitely don't count Ohon out, even though he's a little bit behind right now.
Yeah, it was actually interesting all throughout the tournament because we saw obviously a huge range of skill levels, and Mega Man 1 was either the game that ruined people or it went perfectly fine. Like there was no in between of, oh, that was an okay Mega Man 1. It was either just a catastrophe or everything went fine. So it's always scary to see the beginning of the runs in a race setting. You never really know what's going to happen.
So Bombman's a pretty uneventful stage. There's really nothing going on until the big zip. Again, the zip is a lot like how the fire wrap worked. So you're just going to see them use a pixel perfect magnet to get onto the next screen and then just basically zip through the entire second half of the stage. It's really nice. It saves a bunch of time. So
yeah, that last room is really terrible. So it's thank goodness it's one of the easiest zips to set up to.
Yeah. It really benefits from using those ladders because, like Chun-Li said, since these are pixel perfect zips, to have that ladder, you can basically, put yourself in exactly the right section. But Fast is just like, no, I don't want the ladder. I don't want it. Who needs ladders?
He got it second try. He also got that short zip to the ladder too in the other screen, so that was really nice. The only real danger is zipping in this game. There's not a whole lot typically, but there are a couple zips that can kill you. The runners, like here in Bomb, have to make sure they turn back to the right at the door before they hit the door, otherwise they'll die. So there are some risks, but they're not too terrible to avoid. So
just that recovery by Nero, that was insane.
Yeah, that was really good.
He was at a beam right there, and he basically had to kind of wing it at the end. So great. Like we're saying, if you don't get it right there, he's going to lose a lot of time having to go through the second half of the stage.
Yeah, for sure. So Fasta's starting to get some breathing room here from the other runners, but Prisi really still not that far behind here, maybe only about 15 or 20 seconds or so. It's hard to actually tell because I didn't see on my screen if they all started exactly at the same time, but yeah, it'd be roughly somewhere in that range.
So, kind of talking about the route, the reason why Mega Man 1 does cut first so they can get the Magnet Beam as early as possible, it's basically this stage. This is where all your time save is coming in. Having to ride the little platforms over here that you're seeing in Prisi's screen is just slow, really slow. Yeah. So, this is basically saving most of that time.
Yeah, and unfortunately having Beam doesn't help. I mean, it helps a bit in cut, but I mean, it's you save more time with it here than you would cut, so that's why we do the clip.
So coming up is probably the worst power-up in all classic Mega. I say that as a Mega Man 5 runner to deal with Power Stone, because we have the bomb.
Yeah, this weapon is pretty bad. It's very slow, which is the issue. Mainly, it takes forever to explode, and Gutsman, if he wants, can sort of jump away from it if your placement is a little off. So you can see there, Fasta almost gets screwed there by the bomb explosion, but he just keeps him in range and gets the ass grab as well. So really nice.
Always important to get the ass grab.
It is. I mean, it's really a reset if you don't get it.
Well, technically, it's a reset anyway.
Yeah. Nero also gets it. Prisi does not. Ooh.
Uh-oh. Shameful.
That may hurt him in the end. We'll see.
So yeah, all of these runners, as you can see here, they're all using Rockman 2. There is actually a difference between Mega Man 2 and Rockman 2. So Mega Man 2 featured an added difficulty in normal mode. The difficult mode in Mega Man 2 is just the regular difficulty in Rockman 2. There's no actual choice of difficulty, but they actually created an easier mode in Mega Man 2 that enables you to, most things take half as much damage, most of your weapons do double the damage, so it's just a lot easier to go through overall. But Rockman 2 is actually a little bit faster because it's in Japanese text, and you'll kind of see in the weapon get screens just how much text there is, and that's basically where the time save comes from.
Yeah, especially if you follow the same route. I know in the tournament we had Baron come up with a different route in normal mode to cut out one of the item get screens to be the last one as kill. But even then, you're still faster in Rockman 2. So
it's really neat. What did he do last? Did he flash?
Air last.
Makes sense.
So he would go crash third and do a slightly different route that cut out the long weapon get for item 2.
So yeah, this is kind of the downside of doing Rockman 2. As you can see in fast screen, your Buster does 2 damage per hit on flash, and you have to properly time your shots. So let's see if Prisi can do it. Ooh, he's doing a really good job so far. Just missed a couple.
Nero gets underneath flash, but then kind of gets stuck inside of the hitbox, so gets frozen, unfortunately.
You can actually land all your shots so that he will die before he does his flash. It's incredibly hard to be consistent at.
Yeah, it's a beautiful fight. We'll see how Ohon's goes here. See if he can get it.
Okay, you guys seeing the weapon get screened, just how long it's taking right now.
Yeah. Oh. Maybe we won't see it. Well, I saw half of it.
That's alright.
Yeah, it's all good. A couple frame drops, no big deal.
It happens. So yeah, now you're gonna see the reason why they do flash first is because they get what is it, item 3 or item 1?
Yes. Yep, item 3.
I forget my numbers. Okay, so yeah, item 3. Item 3 is gonna allow them to do a cool little zip coming up. So just like in Mega Man 1, there are zips in Mega Man 2. Actually, Mega Man 1 and Mega Man 2 both use the same engine. So obviously, if there's zips in 1, chances are there's gonna be zips in 2. So they're gonna use item 3 to get themselves stuck in the ceiling. Kind of gotta go up into the ceiling, and then they're gonna allow themselves to basically zip through the entire half of this section down here.
Yeah, we're seeing Fastest trying to set it up now. He's having some issues with his placement though. There, he's good now. Just barely beats the telly and initiates the zip.
So there's kind of a few different ways you can do that zip, or just do zips in general. That's the first instance you're gonna see is basically like a jump. I don't know, what is it exactly?
A jump
called?
trigger, yep.
It's a jump trigger, yeah.
An A trigger or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Everybody calls it whatever.
They have those names, but yeah.
You can also trigger it with a B input, depending on if you're on the screen or not. So we might see that in Bubble. Some guys like to B trigger, some guys like to A trigger there. So,
so coming up is Heat, and Fast is gonna fight him again. He's using Buster to kill him because we don't have a weakness yet, and he's subject to the mercy of RNG. Just like Flash, he's gonna be doing 2 damage a hit. Unfortunately, with Heat, what happens is once you hit him, he goes invulnerable. And the patterns that he gets here are in 3 different patterns. So far as a nice fight. So he can go either 30, 60, or 90 frames, and it's purely RNG what he does. So Fast, and you're going to see most of the runners kind of timing their jumps to make sure that they jump over him appropriately, so that they can hit him as soon as he gets out of invulnerability. So
yeah, and you have to hit Heat 14 times in this fight, so there's a good potential for some time gain depending on the pattern, or time loss depending on the pattern of Heat. So every single charge, you have a chance of losing a second.
What's up?
We have a monumental donation.
Oh
boy!
It is the first donation for Best Anime. Andy, would you like to reveal what it is?
We have $5 from Aryan Blue that says, "Please put this towards I Eat Your Pie as Best Anime."
Oh my goodness!
Wow, it will be done. Currently in the lead is I Ate Your Pie with $5 as Best Anime.
Oh my goodness!
Amazing.
So unfortunately, there Ohon took a death. He's gonna have to fight Heat again.
So yeah, Fast is gonna be doing a really cool strat. So you're gonna have these forgive me, I don't know the terms, but you have these little like platforms that the cooler monsters are going to be on. Normally you'd have to ride these platforms really slow. But what Fast is going to try to do is he's going to try to skip all that. He's going to take some damage boosts and use his item 1 to kind of skip through all that. And yeah, so far it's so good.
Nero accidentally went either to Clash on accident or
Yeah.
he's doing it on purpose. I don't know if he is, but he tried to go for the biggie there and just didn't quite have it. Didn't quite get to his item quick enough, so we're going to see a slightly different route here. He's doing a death warp here after his zip to respawn him back to the checkpoint room. Fast though, like you said, through fast air, he's already moving into the final room of air. Prisi,
Absolutely.
again, right on his heels, doing a really good job of keeping pace.
Yep.
This doesn't necessarily hurt Nero a lot. He's just going to have to fight Crash with Buster, which is a slower fight, obviously.
He has everything he needs to get through the stage.
Right.
Like, that's not different. It's just he's gonna have to Buster Clash instead of air.
Right, so he'll lose some time, unfortunately, for that, but it's not as punishing as some of the other menu errors, for sure, so...
So again, air is a little bit of RNG as well. You have to Buster him, and his little tornado patterns are random, and some patterns are just really hard to get enough shots off of him, and some patterns you can get a ton of shots off of him. So that's
Yeah,
getting a
and
pretty
you
decent
see
pattern.
these guys actually jumping into the tornadoes as they start to move across the screen. They do that on purpose so that they can reset, again, their horizontal movement, and they can get closer to air, and ideally just walk through the next set of air shooters with iframes. So
Does Buster only do 1 damage to Clash?
in this version, yeah, it's a slow fight. That's why the route that Baron came up with is not feasible in difficult mode, because this fight is so much longer.
This is
So,
horrible.
This fight is something for sure. Meanwhile, Ohon is also going through his fast air, and he is through the first screen as well. So very nice job by these guys.
Okay,
Beautiful.
Nero's
Oh
my
close.
god.
Beautiful finish there for Nero.
Alright, so I think Prisi's gonna go for the biggie. Let's see if he'll get it.
Yeah, he probably will here. Fasta doing the second screen setup. Oh, he's not.
Oh,
So
no, okay, playing it safe. So yeah, the biggie is basically there's a faster way to do the zip that you're seeing Fast and Prisi do right now. They would start it on the first screen. It's about what 6 to 7 seconds faster or something like that. But
yeah, I'm not 100%
Yeah.
sure to be honest, but
It's-
it's a decent amount.
it saves a chunk of time. However, it's extremely hard to pull off. It also has the potential for a soft lock, I believe. So
I don't think you can soft lock on that
oh,
one,
so
but
you would just have to die, I guess.
You would have to take a death, yeah.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
you can progress into the stage and still respawn at the checkpoint. It just costs you quite a bit of time.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, basically, when you're zipping in this game, a lot of the zips, like especially the death warps, you're basically zipping through the stage. Like you're seeing visually, you're seeing like the same screen, but in fact, they're actually traversing through many of the screens. You're kind of going to see that later on when they get to Woodman. They're going through the entire stage. You just don't really notice that. So when they end up doing something wrong, they may end up on the wrong stage, or they may end up like on the wrong screen, or they may even end up in the wrong stage. Like they may end up in Wily instead of where they're supposed to be. So
Yeah,
you know when that
overzipping wood
happens,
is really bad.
yeah, when that happens is when things get kind of dicey.
It's really important that, like even like the Woodman one specifically, like you don't want to overzip there. You can still recover by taking a game over, but obviously that's pretty huge time loss. So.
All right, now I hope Nero's going to use Clash Bomb, of course, for air, right?
Oh
That'll,
man,
like,
that's
kill him in one
clearly,
hit.
clearly, yeah. Well, as BJW said, it's a one-hit KO, right? Oh, that legacy pattern.
All right, good pattern for.
So, despite his menu error, Nero does a pretty good job of keeping pace here with both Fasta and Prisi. So,
Oh,
not a big deal.
Fasta skipping the 1-up. Did he get a 1-up trap?
I didn't see if he did, so he's either all in or maybe he'll grab the one in the beam section. I'm not sure.
So Prisi's skipping it as well. So the reason why they would consider grabbing up the starter quick is, like we said, there are death warps. You actually do take a death when you warp, and there are 2 death warps in these stages. So you're at 0 lives. So if you mess up, you're game over.
Yeah, and that's a real risk if you make a slight error in bubble somewhere. So And these guys like to do their big B triggers, which can be really risky, and we'll talk about that when we get to bubble, but both these guys turning the lights back on costs you about maybe half a second or so to, you know, turn back to respawn the trigger. Yeah, Fast is skipping that one up as well, so he either got one or he's going all in. Nope, he didn't.
Nope, he's all in. All right.
Yeah, he's going for it, so... Now, this zip that he's setting up here, this is a potential soft lock, so it's very important that the runners don't overzip here, so hopefully he is into the door.
Good.
That's one.
Oh, looks like...
Prisi setting is up now. He is in also.
Good.
All right.
Man,
Pattern from Quick right now.
Yeah. So the thing about Quick is his weakness is the clash bombs. However, if you miss him and you end up hitting the wall, it takes a long time for it to explode. Now that would actually do more damage to Quick, but the fact is you're just wasting so much time waiting for him to get hit by it, so it still loses you time.
You notice that the guys, when they're going through the beams like Nero was there, they have to actually switch to flash there because they're actually zipped a screen further. So they actually have to switch to flash so they can freeze the beams in place. Otherwise, they actually can't beat that screen with zip. So that's why you see them actually switching to flash and using it there.
So we were kind of talking about the different ways to zip. Prisi doing the zip now, Fast just doing it. That's the B trigger, right? You're actually using another item one to set up the zip.
Right,
So
yep.
Different ways of zipping in this game.
And the B trigger, as long as you can actually do the B trigger, it's a lot easier to do as well because I think you're in like all you have to do is press left basically at any time Mega Man is in the throw animation for the item. And I think that's like 20 frames or something. It's a pretty big window, so
Yeah.
the B triggers are quite a bit easier, but like I said, you can only do them if you can see Mega Man on screen, because otherwise you don't get the animation of the throw, so...
Definitely seems, I mean, I'm not a Mega Man 2 expert, but it definitely seems like B triggers are a lot easier to call than A triggers.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So, Metal Man, completely manipulative fight.
Yep.
As long as they just start with pressing B and don't go past the midpoint, Metal will never jump. So, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, normal is even easier. You don't even have to press B when you enter, but in this version you want to press B to trigger him to jump, and that way he'll just stand there after he throws his initial metal blades at you, and you can just finish him off.
Alright, so Fast coming to wood. You're going to see a bunch of nonsense coming on. Basically, like we said earlier, what Fast is doing is he's essentially going to be going through the entire stage in what seems like 2 screens, but it's really not. And then at the very end, once he's executed everything very specifically, he is going to be setting up a little death warp at the end, and he will find himself at the boss checkpoint.
Yeah, and like the screens look really crazy, but they're not too terribly difficult. Once you do this zip a few times, you get a pretty good feel for what you need to be doing. But yeah, like you said, you're gonna be seeing. It looks like you'll be seeing this screen. If you actually watch the screen, it sort of blinks with the screen that they're going to for like a really short second, split second there, and then it goes back to the glitched one. So you can kind of get a feel for where they are in the stage if you really watch carefully. But yeah, this whole system here, they're basically progressing through the stage, but obviously they can't see everything, and then they're going to zip past the trigger for the checkpoint and then take the death. This one's a little more involved than the Crash Man one for sure. So.
CLO in the chat's disappointed that there's no dog scrolls.
Yeah, there's not. I don't think you to see that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I was out of here. He's had it.
So yeah, we were kind of just talking about Ohon saying, maybe he's a little bit behind, but now he's kind of caught up. He's ahead of Nero. Probably it helped that Nero went to the wrong stage.
It did, so, probably a little bit.
He's not too far behind Prisi, and not too far behind Fast either, so yeah, definitely back in this thing.
Notice that these guys are actually fighting Woodman with Air Shooter. That's actually not technically his main weakness. Obviously, as most people know, Heat is his main weakness, but in difficult mode, or on Rockman 2 basically, Heat doesn't one-shot him. It takes 2 fully charged Heat shots, so it's much faster to be able to just shoot Air Shooters right through his shield and kill him before he even gets a second throw off.
All right, folks, don't adjust your TV screens, your 1960s CRT. I promise you, this is intentional. You know, well, it's not intentional, but it's nothing we can do about it. Bubbleman's stage it has really bad problems with frame rate.
Yeah, the waterfall screens are not nice. Let's see, Fasta goes for the B trigger. So, like we talked about, that's a risky strat because if you B trigger that and zip too early, you will hit the spikes and die. And Fasta's on his last life, so that's a pretty ballsy strat to go for in a no reset setting against runners of this caliber, because taking a death there and a game over would be really, really bad. But he's got no fear; he's going for it. So
no fear, I like it.
I didn't see Prisi's, but I'm almost certain he went for the B trigger as well. He's a B trigger boy.
Oh wait, did Ohon go to a wrong stage? Oh, he just did.
Oh, he hadn't beat Metal yet.
Ah, my mistake.
So that's why it looked like they were so close. Still not that far really away. Metal's got to be the shortest stage, I think.
Yes.
With the zips, with how long they actually are.
Flash might be about the same.
Ooh, maybe, yeah. So Nero goes for the A trigger, much safer. Slightly more difficult, maybe. Like, they're not that hard to trigger. Zips in 2, like I sort of talked about in 1, they're really, all pixel perfect. In 2, zips aren't necessarily difficult, but it's more about getting your setup to be really fast, so lose time waiting.
So Fast and Prisi are now coming into Mega Man 3. This is Fast's game. He has the world record in Mega Man 3, if you didn't know. So it's kind of a big transition point from 2 to 3. There is now sliding, of course, as you can see, and it's really not a whole lot of zipping anymore. Different engine, it just doesn't lend itself as well to zipping. There are kind of a few minor zips in the game, but nothing like crazy like in Mega Man 1 and 2. So it's all coming down to movement now. Who's the one that can slide better and mash harder, so to speak?
Yeah, you can lose quite a bit of time to not chaining your slides together very well. This is going to be interesting because we've got likely 3 runners going top first, and then Nero is going to be the lone runner going with Magnet first. Magnet first was a route that really wasn't that used until within the last maybe year and a half or so, where Fasta actually sort of pioneered the route. And Nero just decided that was the route he preferred because the top first route, it's got some pretty scary jumps coming in the next stage.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like you said, Fast is kind of the pioneer of the magnet route, so it's kind of interesting to see him not doing that route, but top is the faster route. There's basically the one, it's going to save a couple seconds, so it's not like Nero's going to lose time or anything like that, but it is definitely faster. You won't be able to see, because of the different routes, you won't be able to kind of see how Nero's doing relative to Fast and Prisi until like the 6th Robot Master, 7th Robot Master. That's when everything kind of sinks in place.
Yep. The downside with Magnet first is obviously what you're seeing Nero go through right now is you have to do the Yoku blocks through this checkpoint room, and that can be pretty costly. In fact, the other guys are going to pick up about 11 seconds on Nero when they get to this point. The Gemini first route also had the ability to have Rush Jet here as well, so that was really good. Ooh, scary. It looked like It looked like he was going to try to jump into the bullet.
Yeah.
I guess he accidentally was still holding the down arrow. Really scary there. Those spikes actually are pretty easy to die on, so... did unfortunately get knocked down, but better than taking a death for sure.
So, you kind of see the first instances of why mashing is so powerful in this game. As you can see Fast fighting Proto right there. Yeah, he's just dead in like 3 seconds because his mash is really good. Basically, this game, whoever can mash faster, that's going to give him a pretty big advantage. Not necessarily going to mean that you're the best, because again, this comes down to good movement just as it is good mashing, but definitely helps to have some really good mash in this game.
Yeah, a lot of enemies don't have invincibility frames, obviously, so the faster you mash, the faster they die. Nero had a really nice magnet fight.
So you kind of see this is the kind of the hardest part of the top first round. It's just
Yeah.
fast screen.
Fasta taking it a little safe here. You're not getting some great spawns from the Parasius, unfortunately. You don't really want them to come down, or you don't want them to spawn high. You want them to come down lower. You had a couple spawn a little bit high on him there, so played it safe, and he's through.
Ohon was going for the last jump in the top section, and he died, unfortunately.
Yeah, we saw Prisi take that jump a little bit safer. because it is a pretty punishing death now. As you see, Ohon's going to have to replay those screens. Prisi is also through without the deaths, so
It's good.
it's a terrifying room, especially in a race.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing about Shadow is he has top as his weakness. You have to be really careful how you fight him, because if you go into Shadow while you're invincible because you got hit, you could potentially use your entire ammo. I don't know exactly how it works, but basically you can end up screwing yourself, and you have to buster him instead of using top.
You nailed it. That's exactly how it works. When you're spinning inside of an enemy's hitbox, every frame you're spinning, you lose ammo. So if you jump into him for the first hit and you take damage, obviously it takes you out of the spin animation, so you only use like 1 ammo. But if you're in iframes and the boss is in iframes, you can definitely waste a lot of ammo. So the runners have to be a little bit careful that they don't drain all their energy.
So yeah, as you see right there, Fast just kind of despawned the music because you're not going to see any music anymore, and you wonder why is he despawning music. That actually reduces lag. If you couldn't tell, Mega Man 3 is a very laggy game. Pretty much anything you do in this game lags it. So any opportunity you have to reduce the lag in this game, you want to take advantage of it, as long as it doesn't, kill you.
And not only that, like you see Prissy doing it now, you skip that really long cutscene with Proto.
Mhm.
It's like a 10-second cutscene or something. So 2 really important reasons to go for that.
So on Fast screen, you're going to kind of see the quintessential room of Mega Man 3, I guess you can call it. This is the single block room in Gemini. So Fast has to be extremely careful in this section. All of these blocks are single block slides, and how it works is Mega Man, once you slide, for the first 8 frames, once you slide, he cannot jump out of the slide. So Fast has to be extremely careful when he slides and how he slides, and each different single block has its own kind of little lag timing, so you kind of have to get used to each different single block. It's a really tough room that Fast was able to pull pretty flawlessly.
Yeah, and he goes for the bufferless jump over the stomper, which is pretty tight, but he nailed it. He's showing off here a little bit. But you're right, not being able to jump out of your slide for 8 frames is pretty punishing, especially in single blocks. And you have to be really careful with your movement, because if you're landing too far to the right of a block, you can essentially make a jump impossible. So you want to try to land on that left edge if possible.
Yep. Yeah, if you're too far to the right, you're probably just gonna die.
Yeah. Something worth noting too is you see these guys are fighting Gemini with Shadow. Mega Man 3 is a unique game for the NES Mega Man games in that it's the only NES Mega Man game where there are 2 separate closed loop weakness orders. So at some point, regardless of your route, whether it's top first, Gemini first, or Magnet first, you're going to have to fight a boss with a soft weakness, is what we call it. And that means basically your weapon's only going to do about 2 damage instead of the maximum, whatever, 4 or 6 some of them take. So in the Gemini first route, which we're not going to actually see today, you actually go to Spark with Needle. But both these guys with these 2 routes that you're seeing will both end up fighting Gemini Man with Shadow Blade. That does 2 damage.
Yep. So kind of the advantage of top first route, especially in the 46 run, is you kind of get all the hard stages out of the way. Top, Shadow, and Gemini are definitely three of the harder stages in this run. So now that the top first one is kind of past that, you can't say he can rest easy now, but definitely feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, you got to go into Friedel immediately after, and as most people know, Friedel is definitely. In theory, it should be easy, but for whatever reason, this really short stage can cost you quite a bit of time. Fast is already at the door, just showing you how short this stage really is. See if he gets a... he did put a shot into iframes, unfortunately, but gets the rebound kill on the bank shot there. Really sort of fortunate on the pattern from Needleman, so...
So while Needle does a couple of different patterns at the beginning, every single pattern he does, as long as you time your shots appropriately, you can hit him. And you will not miss on your shot. As long as you just basically time everything appropriately, you hit your shots at the right height. You just react to where Needle is. So unfortunately, Fast just kind of I think he got hit and he kind of just messed up his timing slightly, so he ended up banking it off the wall.
Yeah, the laser really sucks, because obviously in this game you can't pause weapons off screen, so you have to wait for the weapon to leave the screen, unlike a weapon like Power Stone in 5. And the Gemini laser is actually 3 separate sprites, So that's why it causes so much lag. Is it's actually quite. It's like 3 different objects jumping around. Oh no!
Ah,
That's the second one there. Fortunately.
the really downside for Ohon right now is not only does he die there, but unfortunately the music is back, and that lags your game even more. So it makes it
Yeah.
even harder to perform. But he doesn't care. He's gonna try it again. Oh no!
So that's his third. Okay. So he must have picked up a couple 1-ups because this is his last. He has Rush Marine, but he is not going for those pansy strats as we see a lot of people go for as their backup. So no boat dog.
Give the fans what he wants, what they want.
Oof, going for some of these scary jumps. Meanwhile, Fasta already getting into the end of Magnet here, and you see Prisi just coming into that room we talked about where Jet saves you a lot of time, whereas Nero had to do the Yokus. These guys are able to just fly over top of them.
So yeah, now you see Fasta's Shadow as Magnet's weakness. If you didn't catch Nero's Magnet fight, he has to kill him with Buster, and it's a little bit of an RNG fight because he may just be periods in which he's invulnerable and can't really do anything other than take the damage if you have the room to take damage. But with Fast, you just basically hit him 4 times with Shadow and he's dead. So don't have to worry too much about the fight.
Yeah, we never, I guess, really mentioned, but I mean, the main reasons why the Magnet first and Top first routes are around is basically because, you know, those bosses take double damage from Buster, so typically those Buster fights are quicker. Gemini was around for quite a while after Hodarubi sort of pioneered that road a bit, and the reason for that is his iframes sort of work weird, where if you hit one of his forms, the other one's iframes go away. So if you rotate your shots back and forth, left and right between the two, I guess the copy and the real version of Gemini, you can take the first half of him down very quickly. So it's kind of cool because you can see like the menu in this game is very fast, and so that allows for some really good variety of routing for this game. And this game has had quite a few different routes pop into play.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of going through hard here. Not too much to really say about this stage. Both the runners so far were able to avoid getting hit by the bees. If you don't use your Shadow Blade correctly and the little bee drops its nest, there's going to be a lot of lag on screen. Affectionately, not the bees, as they say.
Yeah, and there's 5 little bees that come out of that thing. Ooh, Nero has to play it a little bit careful. Low health, but he gets his kill on Gemini. So everybody is out of Gemini now, which is a good sign. That's the scary stage of this category for sure.
Alright, so Fast is going to do a little neat damage boost here off of Hard. Normally what will happen in Hard, he will have to wait. Once Hard goes up and goes down, you'll have to wait a couple of seconds to get unstunned. But if you take damage from him while he's going down, you're invulnerable for that, so you're not stunned. So as you can see there, Fast was able to kind of finish him off that way.
Yeah, he basically hits you twice, and I don't know why it is that it's just the bottom of his hitbox that makes it work, but yeah. You get hit once, and then he freezes you, and then he hits you immediately again, and that allows you to shoot him and get the final hits. And I'm seeing some minor differences with the strats and Needle where Nero is right now. He's using Magnet in this screen. Obviously, the other guys did not have Magnet, so some slightly different routes allows Nero to reduce a little more lag by killing a couple more enemies, but not a huge difference in time. And it kind of opens you up to drops, so you kind of hope that you don't get any ammo drops from the enemies you kill.
So yeah, I don't remember if we talked about Chelmy, but kind of the reason why Magnet First is such a popular route is because Magnet is such a good weapon. Like, there's so many sections in different stages, like you may have noticed in Shadow Man during the Parasues. Like, you notice how Fast and Prisi have to play it super safe. Not for Nero, he's just going to shoot a couple magnets, they home, they kill him, don't have to worry about it at all.
Yeah, it's way more trivial than the top first route. Both the Gemini first and Magnet first route benefit from that for sure. Almost, but gets that bounce to come back and hit Needle in the back.
Yeah, so now Nero is synced up with Prisi and Fast, so you can tell how they're doing right now.
Yeah, so I guess they've got about maybe a half-stage lead here on Nero at the moment. Both having really good runs, both actually ahead of their PBs, so they're playing really solid right now.
Absolutely.
So Nero will be just entering Snake now. Ohon's got...
He's got to do hard after this.
yeah, he's still got one more stage yet before he gets in sync with these guys, so... Ooh. Minor faster net.
Oh. Alright, just minor faster net.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, so for those who aren't familiar, Fast has a questionable internet, as we may say. So, because of that, he has a FFZ emote, faster net. If you will type that, as my chat is typing. Thank you.
Yep, there it
Kind of
is.
signify his bad internet. Fortunately, his internet comes up pretty fast, so you don't have to worry about it. No pun
Yeah.
intended, of course.
I always thought when I
intended
first... Yeah, I always thought when I first saw that emote that it should have been called Fastatcc, but, you know, it's still good. It's still good. I love it.
One thing we didn't mention that you're kind of seeing on Prisi's screen right now, if you actually jump on the seal, you kind of jump at the top of the screen. Not only does it reduce lag, but Rush Jet doesn't actually deplete ammo unless you're actually on it. So by continuously jumping off of Rush while you're in Rush Jet, it saves ammo.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the only danger of it really, not so much really in this category since you don't really get into the dock stages, but you do screen wrap to the bottom of the screen when you do that, and you can get hit by things on the bottom of the screen, so... In this category, really the only danger is you can accidentally spawn the cloud platforms at the bottom, as you see there, unfortunately Nero did do, and that actually does lose you a little bit of time. They generate a little bit of lag. You got both of them, so it's going to cost... minor, like it's frames, but it's just something that you always have to sort of be thinking about.
All right, well, we have a minute if you want to go ahead, plug anything, read some donations, Andy.
Sweet. We don't have any donations at the moment, but I do have a couple things to plug. Coming up next, we have Oracle of Ages, which we have a few incentives that you can donate for. File name is still up for grabs. Ed has $110, and Mr. Nug is in the lead with $126. Everything else is a little more than out of reach at the moment, but it's still up for grabs. And there's also a which buddy Stainer will use. Dimitri has $50, and Ricky has $85.20. And if you also donate $5 during the Mega Man 46 Robot Masters race, you will be entered to win a chance to get some cute Mega Man buttons made by Christmas. There's only 2 donations so far, so you got a pretty good chance.
I'd get those if I were you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thank you very much, Andy. So, now we're coming to Mega Man 4. A little bit different now than Mega Man 3. It features the Buster, first game with the Buster, and the slide is definitely a lot longer than the 3 slide. So it's kind of interesting how they transition from 3 to 4 and how they slide in kind of the beginning.
Yeah.
It's so different than Mega Man 3 that you can kind of be off on your slide timings.
Yeah, you can definitely see a couple of mistakes early on in 4 sometimes with regard to the slide. Thankfully, from 4 to 5 to 6, the slide length will be the same now, so it'll be the only time that's actually an issue. But yeah, it's something that can definitely throw you off, and that can be kind of scary because the first stages are pretty critical to not make any big mistakes in, because as you can see, you got these grasshoppers, and your movement is really based on how fast they go. There's no real way to speed them up at the moment. There is some older RTA strats that use balloon in the grasshopper room, but unfortunately they're quite a bit slower than just riding the grasshoppers themselves, so usually we don't want to see any extra lag if possible. You just want to hope that they give you good jumps.
Yep. So you want to kind of talk about the route?
Sure. So likely we're going to be seeing 4 of the same route. I don't think no one's going to be going Pharaoh first, so there's only really 2 different routes in this game, and the differences between them are so small that realistically speaking, it's not going to be a big deal. These guys are all going to go Bright first, so we're not even going to see the time difference anyway. The benefit of going Pharaoh first is you have Pharaoh Shot to kill Bright a little bit faster, actually, is the main sort of benefit. And then this route that these guys are doing with Bright first, that means they're going to have to do 2 Buster fights as opposed to just 1. But realistically, the time difference between the 2 routes is less than 3 seconds, so it's in a no reset setting like this. you're not really going to see a huge difference.
Yeah, so they have to be really careful in the Bright fight, because if Bright will freeze the screen at certain intervals, these are specific intervals based on his hit points. So you will see them fire shots, like fire like a lemon instead of like a buster, just to basically manipulate his HP so he doesn't freeze the screen.
Right. Yep. 16, 8, and 4 health. Brightman will freeze with Flash Stopper, so it's important to keep his HP values off of that. Which is pretty easy to do as long as you hit him with one uncharged shot before you get the 4th charge in, and you have to hit him with a small shot anyway, so you might as well do that at that point.
It's kind of the main advantage to going Bright first. It's going to make this first screen really safe. So if our man has these really annoying mosquitoes, I don't know, for lack of a better word, and or dragonflies, I guess that's probably the better word. But these little flies will troll you if you don't have Bright. There will be a jump at the end of the screen, which you're going to see shortly, that they will have to make. Without Bright, that fly can just basically say, no, you're not allowed to make that jump. We're just going to send you down.
Yeah.
And that means they don't get the balloon, which saves a few seconds.
Yeah, if your movement is really clean, you can always beat the fly, but it's hard to just say, oh, I'm going to get perfect movement in a race. So obviously with Flash Stopper, much easier. You freeze the fly so he can't snipe you, as Darkman said. It also prevents the scorpions from spawning, which is a huge lag reduction. The Bright First route actually saves a little bit of time here on Pharaoh First, just due to the movement being a lot easier and a lot faster.
One thing we didn't talk about is so the kind of the unique thing about Mega Man 4 compared to the other ones is when you kill a boss, this is the first game in which you're allowed to actually move after you kill a boss. In 1, 2, and 3, you just stop moving as soon as you kill a boss. You can't actually move. And kind of the cool thing about 4 is if you position yourself on the exact center of the screen, there's literally just one pixel you can be in. And if you position yourself exactly there, Mega Man will instantly go up and get his little weapon get, rather than you have to wait for him to jump up and then jump down a little bit. So kind of a neat little time saver. They're all like not terribly hard to perform, so pretty much you would expect them to hit most of them, if not all of them, in this run.
There's also another way you can skip even more, and that's by getting yourself in the middle of the room, and that tricks the game even further into thinking you've already got the weapon, and so you teleport out as soon as the fanfare ends. And one of the places that you can see that is actually in Pharaoh's stage. We'll see if these guys go for it or not. They need to be on the pixel, and they need to jump at the appropriate time and try to get there. We'll see if Fasta goes for it here. He tried. Unfortunately, he did not get it. So the Pharaoh one is quite a bit harder than the one for the Dive Man fight, since in water you kind of hang longer when you release the A button, so it's a lot easier. But Pharaoh one is quite a bit more precise.
Sorry, I believe in Prisi. He's going to get it.
Yeah, unfortunately, these guys are manipulating Pharaoh to stay in the corner as well, which is actually not good. You don't want to kill bosses in the corner similar to Mega Man 3, you want to kill bosses on the middle of the room, because that fanfare won't start until all those sprites from the boss dying leave the screen, so
now you can see Balloon in the fast screen. Balloon is really helpful on Ring Stage. Kind of allows you to traverse through this entire section a lot faster than you normally would be able to. Also, kind of one thing to keep in mind with Ring is, well, it's not a terribly difficult stage. If things go wrong, you have a very finite amount of health, because there's a lot of damage boosting going on in this stage. So if things go wrong, they may have not enough health to actually finish the stage, and they'd have to kind of wing things than they normally would. So kind of keep an eye on the health.
Yeah, there's a lot of mini bosses in this stage, and you skip 3 of them by taking damage, so that's why you typically get to the end of the stage with very low health. Nero looked like he was trying to go for that as well to skip, but no luck from any of these guys, so. And Ohon is finished with Bright, so he is into his Mega Man 4 now, one stage in. But he's got a little bit of ground to make up here on the other 3 guys.
Yeah, you're kind of seeing fast health right now. It's kind of dangerously low. It's only going to get worse because the final little mini-boss.
Yeah, he's only got 8 health, so he can't just jump into this mini-boss. He's going to have to wait for him to open up, because the rings themselves only deal 4 damage, whereas the boss will deal 8. So he's going to have to just wait for that to open, cost him a little bit more time. Prisi also only has 8, so if he does not get a drop from one of the roly-poly guys here, or the Saturns, he's going to have to also do the slower boost.
So you're going to see in Fast Fight, this fight is basically entirely manipulable. he's firing everything at precise moments. And kind of one thing we didn't get a chance to explain until now is when you go into the boss door, you have 1 frame of actually being able to do anything. And this is important because as long as you hold B before the boss comes down, it'll allow you to charge the Pharaoh shot like it did for Fast. And on top of that, if you actually hit the boss with a shot before you actually fire it, so like if you're holding D and you hit a boss or any monster with a shot, it allows you to kind of have like a stored charge shot, so to speak, which you can. It's basically you're getting to fire 2 full shots for the price of 1. It's really helpful with saving energy.
Yeah, it's useful for saving energy and obviously cuts down the time a lot because you don't have to wait for another charge. We saw Prisi just do it there in the Ringman fight. We'll be seeing Nero do that here very shortly. Fasta's into Dust now. This is the hardest stage of the game. Unfortunately, these blocks here in this room you see Fasta in now generate a ton of lag, and so based on drops for enemies that you kill and stuff, the lag is quite variant here, similar to like the Gemini stage in 3. And so obviously taking a death on those spikes can be really bad. Fast is just going to play it really safe just to make sure that he doesn't have any issues there.
Yeah, it's just an extremely brutal stage. Even if you die in that laggy section, it sets you back quite a ways, you know. It doesn't seem like it's a long time loss, but it's a fairly significant time loss.
Nero has a nice ring kill as well, so
let's see if Fast can get this little...
Fast gets a nice cycle.
Yeah, he's kind of sliding there. It's kind of forgiving in that crusher section with, you know, crushing you, so to speak, so... as long as Fast times to slide there at the last slide, you shouldn't be dying there.
Yeah, I'd say it'd about similar timing to like a balloon jump. Like there's quite a bit of time, but it sort of depends too on when you have like what your visual cue is to go.
Mm-hmm.
Prisi also gets that cycle.
So Dustman sucks.
He does. He can definitely do that. Fasta already not getting the best pattern. What you want to see Dustman do is he 100% of the time he'll start the fight with a Dust Crusher shot, and then after that you just want to see him jump. And if he does that, he will finish the fight right in the middle of the room, which is really good. Fasta unfortunately got another Dust Crusher, so he died sort of on the side of the room, which isn't great, but he didn't get any invincibility patterns, and that's the most important part really in this fight. Prisi does get one right there off the bat. Oh, he's staying in the corner like a jerk, dude. Oh, Prisi, you have enough health. He could have deboosted there and killed him right away, but plays it a little bit safe, and that's not necessarily, again, a bad thing either. Every boss in this category in 4, other than Pharaoh, deals 8 damage with their bodies, so boss fights are pretty scary in this game if you're not careful.
So we kind of forgot to talk about this, but you're going to see it in Prisi's stream coming up. This is one of the kind of a few instances of zip in this game. So you can kind of use the balloon to position yourself in the ceiling and get hit by a little enemy before you die, because if you just stay in the ceiling too long with balloon, you just die. So as long as you get hit, though, it's going to enable you to zip through that little section. Saves like, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah, about 3 or 4, yeah. The zipping aspect of it itself, like you're right, like Capcom, I guess they realized after Mega Man 1 and 2 and 3 that zipping was a thing or something. Actually, to be honest, I think Capcom realized how easy zipping was in 4 because the balloon, it's super easy to zip with the balloon. The reason you die instantly all the time when you keep a balloon near the ceiling is because you're actually zipping. And so they designed the game to kill you if you zip, unless you're in iframes.
Nero unfortunately died without he had no ring ammo left too, so he's gonna have to bust their
This can be a terrible, terrible thing, depending on what Dust decides to do. Now, there is a slight way to manipulate Dust, and Nero unfortunately is not doing it, so he could be getting a lot of suck patterns here if he gets unlucky, but he's getting very lucky at the moment. You want to stay closer to Dust, because the closer you stand to him, the less likely he will suck you in. So you have to be... He's unfortunately staying a little too far away, but he's getting really good luck considering the distance he's standing. So I've seen Dust just over and over and over again from that distance. And there, you're seeing it now. Like he's taking the hits on purpose because Dust will switch patterns. But unfortunately, he just went into another invincible pattern, so some bad luck there for Nero. Unfortunate death for him. And meanwhile, Prisi and Faster through Skull and into Dive.
Yeah, so Dive is kind of the first instance of being underwater in this game. And kind of the one of the unique properties of being underwater in this game is you can't jump out of the slide. So what does that mean exactly? That means that you have to actually either cancel your slide or by hitting left and hitting right. Or sorry, you can't do that, my bad. Or you have to kind of wait out the entire duration of the slide. So, you can't just like slide when you're next to like a pit or next to spikes because you're just gonna fall. So you have to be really careful with your slides and when you're underwater.
Yeah. Yeah, and canceling in this game is very clunky in comparison to Mega Man 6, so it just doesn't feel nearly as good. Start to walk the opposite direction a little bit, and that can really throw off your positioning for where you want to jump from.
You'll kind of see the return of that a little bit later in Mega Man 6, like Charlie was saying.
Yeah.
Mind
These
if
whales... Oh, yeah.
Sneak a donation in real quick?
Go for it.
We have a $15 donation from JWK Tiger saying, use my donation for the incentive for Fasta to get better internet, Kappa. Donations go to Winner's Choice and some sweet Mega Man swag buttons.
Nice. I like
Could
it.
you imagine a better Fasta internet?
Wouldn't be a better
can't.
stream on Twitch.
Do you want to plug any incentives or anything, Andy? While
I think we're good for now.
Okay then. Guys, donate. Put your money towards an incentive. Thank you.
Get some cute Mega Man buttons. Easy.
Yeah, get some cute buttons. Make I Eat Your Pie your favorite anime, whatever you want.
So Fasta had a pretty rough fight there on Dive. He also didn't quite jump high enough for that animation skip. We'll see Prisi probably go for that as well.
Let's come up as Drill, Chelney's favorite robot master.
Yeah, Drill's kind of a jerk, but he's not too terrible. There is, again, a sort of a manipulation for him, but it's, again, not 100%. There's 4 bosses in this game that are completely manipulatable, and there's 4 bosses that are... you can manipulate them, but they might still screw you over, so it kind of sucks, but Drill is one of those ones that can still screw you over regardless, unfortunately. You don't want to get a lot of dives from him, because obviously a dive costs you a little over 4 seconds, so...
Yeah. A little bit late, but Prisi was able to get that cool little insta trigger, like we were talking about earlier. So he positioned himself in the center and dive, and then he jumped at the appropriate time. So what happened is the game thinks you're in the center already getting a weapon, so it's just like, we don't need to do any of that. We're just gonna get up the screen. So kind of saves quite a bit of time. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's another second, so it's pretty substantial amount of time considering what you have to do for it.
Yeah. Drill Man, not too much going on. One thing to look out for with the Flash Stopper over here is Flash Stopper is, of course, on time length, but while you're sliding, it doesn't actually reduce that time. So as long as you time your slides appropriately and chain your slides appropriately in this last section, you'll see Fast is able to get basically to almost the end of it without having to use another
Almost.
flash.
Yeah, almost one flash. That's pretty tough to do. You gotta have pretty good movement. So... But yeah, it lasts for 5 seconds if you don't slide, so it's pretty broken when you start to use it for that whole screen like that if your movement is good.
Let's see what Drill's gonna do for him.
Staying pretty good. And he gets a good pattern, so
He's got it.
just has to finish it off. Good. No dives. Drill will always start the fight with that first initial dive, so we don't really count that one. It's not random. But
did you see that strat that Prisi did? I love it.
yeah, Prisi goes for an older strat that I don't do anymore. If you don't have if you don't get through the room in one flash, you're better off to switch to dive missile because it generates a little bit less lag when you shoot the rock as opposed to refreezing the room. So it's again a really small time saver, but a little bit quicker.
So see now Drill kind of being Drill and just diving on Prisi. It's already 2.
Yeah, it's already 2 extra ones there, unfortunately. Only 2 is sort of... I mean, that's typically the worst you see most of the time. You can get, some really bad luck and get 4 dives, but Usually you won't see more than 2. But yeah, that's sort of like the typical worst average pattern you get from him, and that costs you about 9 seconds. Again, just seeing like throughout, you see why Flash Stopper and why Brightman is fought usually so early on. Oh, Fasta.
That's a rough death.
Instantly gonna even up these guys pretty much here between him and Prisi now. It's a pretty punishing death. We'll have to watch now if he gets any drops or not, because his Flash Stopper now will be pretty low getting to the end of the stage. As he used 2, unfortunately. So he technically doesn't have enough to get to the end of the stage.
Could probably get through this section in 1 if you needed to.
You can. We see most people take 2 here, but and he's not going to get it in 1 because he's not doing the little slides, so...
Doesn't matter. Just
he got a drop, so...
Yeah, he got a drop, so it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on pretty good pace before that death. I know some people were kind of talking about it.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate there. But what I was going to say is, you see why Flash Stopper is, like, it's so broken. Like, we use it for almost the entire stage of Drill. We use it for all of Toad. And not only that, but you see here Fasta and Prisi going through Toad stage. If you freeze the snails early enough, you can actually just skip them completely. You see Prisi doing that right now as he's dropping into his second mini-boss. Gets a nice D-boost as well.
Yeah, kind of annoying mini-boss there, but fortunately I have to deal with it. And this is the hardest boss in the game.
Okay, Terex. Yeah, Toad is pretty easy. The only thing you really have to be conscious of when you're in this fight is that you're not moving a lot while the drills are actually exploding, because the drills generate a lot of lag. So trying to minimize your movement while they are exploding is ideal. But yeah, Fasta's out of 4. He's into Mega Man 5. That's your game.
No, that's BGW's game.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. Anyway, this is Mega Man 5. So kind of a few changes in this one. You still have the slide and the buster, of course. One of the big differences here is so you can't actually charge your buster while you're sliding, which you can actually do in 4. And on top of that, if you do get hit while you have your buster charged, you lose it. Which unfortunately didn't exist. Which fortunately didn't exist in 4. Also, kind of another big thing with Mega Man 5 is, unlike 3, where basically enemies had no invincibility period, there's a pretty huge invincibility period between shots in this game. So what that's going to lend itself to is, rather than kind of have to mash through things like you had in 3, you're going to basically be bustering through things. And whatever you can't buster through, you're going to have to be timing shots very specifically, so that way you don't kind of hit it too fast and just go straight into its invincibility period. So kind of one of those things to look out for with this game. You did notice on Fast screen and Prisi's screen that there was a letter. They skipped that. So normally what those letters do is you collect all 8 throughout the 8 Road Masters and then you get Beat. Beat's kind of a cute bird. Can be stupid, but generally cute.
Rip double pooper scooper?
No, Prisi got it.
Prisi got it, nice. Prisi's the hero we need.
So yeah, but they don't need to get those because they're not doing the rest of the game. Beat's mainly used for the second half of the game, so yeah, so kind of the cool thing about Starman is he has a shield and he throws it at you, but fortunately you can fire Buster and pellets through the shield as long as you're fairly close to him. So it's kind of the cool thing about this fight. You're kind of like timing your shots based on what he does. It's not like you're not in complete control of what Starman does, but you basically react to what he does, and as long as you react appropriately, you can get a buster off like in an appropriate amount of time. It's a very hard fight to kind of cycle through.
I didn't see if Fasta got it. Unfortunately, Prisi missed the grab skip.
I don't think Fast got it either. There's actually kind of a neat trick in this called the grab skip. As you kind of saw on Prisi's screen, Mega Man goes up and down really slowly in Starman stage when he gets the weapon. But if you do a precise jump right before you lose control of Mega Man, it will actually enable you to skip the slow up and down, and instead you go up at normal speed. Saves quite a bit of time, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we're seeing why this run really starts with Star. The main reason we start in Star is because that's where the super arrow is, and we're seeing already Fasta and Prisi using it. This weapon is, I mean, the best utility weapon of classic Mega. I mean, there's no better one. This thing Works sort of like item 2, going horizontally fast. You can use it like a balloon or an item 1 to scale vertically quickly. And it's also a weapon, so it kills things. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, the triple. Kind of one of the things you're going to see throughout the course of Mega Man 5 is, so 2 things to keep in mind. One, while firing an arrow requires 2 energy, you only actually need 1 energy in order to fire the arrow. And this is important because they're going to be setting up their arrow usage in such a way that there are going to be spots where they have just 1 energy left, but they can still fire an arrow. And of course, even if you have 0 energy, the arrow still reverses until it hits a wall or until the end of the screen. So that's pretty useful. You're going to see fairly soon first fascinating for Gravity. Gravity is a scripted fight. It's the same exact thing every time. So as long as you know how to react appropriately, you're going to kill him at the same exact time.
Exactly.
So yeah, one thing you're going to see from Fast coming up is you're going to see him walking off the arrow. And he's not actually going to be walking off the arrow, because what's going to happen is the arrow is traveling so fast that Mega Man can't actually walk off of it. But this is important because the game actually recognizes that Mega Man is walking off for a brief time and then walking back on. And this is important because this allows them to save a little bit of ammo. The ammo doesn't drain as fast. The ammo only drains when Mega Man is actually on the arrow. So since the game thinks that he's not actually on the arrow for a brief time, you keep going off of it, and that allows you to save a little bit more energy than you normally would when you're just riding the arrow.
Right. Yeah, I believe it's 2 ammo to fire it, and then 1 ammo for every 5 frames you stand on it. So.
Yep. So as you can see there, like, that was really important because it allowed him to save that 1 energy, which allowed him to get back up to that little platform faster. It's not like he needed it, but it saves time there because it gets that energy faster.
Yep. Yeah, and it'll be more evident in stages like Stone and some of the later ones, but definitely a really important tech to do.
Yeah. So I guess a couple things to keep in mind. Ohon has the fastest time out of all of these 4 in Mega Man 5, so you might be able to gain a little bit of ground on them. Yeah, definitely keep an eye on Ohon as we get through the rest of Mega Man 5.
Prisi's less than a screen now. That long screen there, basically distance behind Fasta, and he does have a stronger time in this game than Fasta, so there is a potential for him to maybe pick up some time here as well.
Yep.
Even those guys out a bit.
Definitely. They're fairly close in their PBs, but Prisi is definitely the stronger of the 2, without question. So this could become a very close race. I mean, it's just like the semifinals. Right? Tell me, it came down to 4 seconds before, so
yeah, they were
3 seconds now.
In their semifinal. To sort of recap that really quickly, I think Prisi lost by 4 seconds in that, and he died. He's the only runner. I think Fasta had a deathless run. Prisi had 1 death that cost him about maybe 15 seconds. So it just shows you, like, these guys are definitely very equal in skill range.
Yep. All right, folks, it's time for a bathroom break. Because you're going to have about 43 seconds to do whatever you want. And the reason why is because coming up to Crystal Man, we're going to have this neat little skip. Basically allows you to skip through the entire stage. So what's going to happen is Fast and Prisi are going to both set up their arrows to land at the appropriate spot. And they're going to take their arrow, and it's going to hit one of the little... I forgot what they're called. But in any case, it's going to hit one of the little funny things. And you're going to see half of their sprite disappeared. You're going to see the top half of the little ball sprite disappeared. And basically what's happening is, honestly, I don't know a whole lot of what's happening, but the gist of it is you're getting pushed through the entire screen, and you're going to magical places, and the game doesn't know what to do, so it's just like, I'm going to put you at the boss door. So that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and this setup found fairly recently before the tournament by Baron using the super arrow to make this actually a feasible strat.
Mm-hmm.
And both Fasta and Prisi also going for the lag reduction to try to kill that guy. Unfortunately, Prisi got a drop, so probably actually lost him more time going for it than he would have saved. But
so you can kind of see that little guy with the ball. You see his ball's missing. That's the trigger that you know it's successful. I think the sprite was replaced with the ball. I don't know. It's weird stuff is happening. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, basically it's Mega Man's dying on the frame that ball is supposed to be spawning, and so all of Mega Man's death sprites sort of like fill up in the memory, and so that ball never spawns, and yeah, it's just some weird memory leak, and I guess you could call it.
I have no idea what happened to Ohon, but he's bustering Gyro.
He must have mismenued, unfortunately. And so, yeah, this fighting Gyro without his weakness is just basically as bad as fighting Drill Man in Mega Man 4.
You know what it is? He must have... Did he go to Gravity first? He must have gotten a Gyro first. That's the only thing I can think of.
Maybe.
Because why would he die to Gyro?
He did do Star.
Yeah, he did do Star, I know that much. Cypher was asking how much time it saves. This saves about 10 to 15 seconds, the crystal skip. Kind of the reason most runners don't do this is because since you skip a stage, you skip the letter. Therefore, you're doing the rest of the game beatless. And this kind of sucks because the last boss of this game is pretty much RNG. Really bad RNG. So most people don't do it, but there are some runners that have tried it. Some runner that is trying it, namely Baron. Brave man.
Baron was a trooper trying out the beatless route. Typically, I think Polari is the only other person that actually runs beatless as not a joke. I think he seriously runs that category. So most people will always be collecting beat.
So kind of one thing we didn't mention is that fortunately both these people were able to get past the spike, I don't know, spike crusher mover things, whatever you want to call them. Kind of the interesting thing with those is they take 3 hits, and if you time your shots wrong, you're going to actually just hit its invincibility period. That's bad, because if you hit it, you die. It's a spike. So it's a very tricky section to get through, so fortunately both these guys were able to do it, no problem.
Got both these guys doing gravity strats, which I think we'll be seeing from probably all 4 runners. Nero, please. You're fine.
It's fine, everything's fine.
Everything is fine, yes.
Yeah, so kind of really cool fight coming up in Napalm. You're going to see Fast and Prisi both trying to time their shots appropriately. So the way Napalm works is if you're too close to him, he will fire his napalms at you. That's bad because they actually lag the screen. So instead you want him to fire his missiles because they lag the screen less. So you have to be far away enough from him to make sure he does not fire his napalms while still shooting the crystal. Each shot at each invulnerability period. So it's a really precise fight to kind of get, down to making sure you're firing your crystal every single chance you get while still being far enough away from him to trigger the missiles instead of the napalms. So it's a really neat fight to see optimized. And Fast got like a fantastic fight. It's near perfect.
Yeah, it was really good. That's something else about this category, actually, with regard to accidentally putting shots into iframes. Every game has, like, a different length of invincibility frame, basically, for bosses. So, again, that's something else you have to sort of, like, adjust to on the fly. Like, you have to, the iframes in 5 for bosses are a little bit shorter, and in 4 and 6 they're a little longer. So you don't want to waste a shot into a boss's invincibility frames in some of the longer games like 4 and 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so kind of Stone Man stages. I really hate this stage. There's not a whole lot of big things that can go wrong on the stage, but just a lot of little things. Missing your shots, not timing your jumps properly. You get hit, and you can get hit quite a few times here, and just all those little time losses add up, and it really bugs me. But
yeah. And running off the edge of the arrow is really important in this stage because you need to have you don't need to, but ideally you have 3 arrows for the last room. And Prisi here, unfortunately, is only going to have 2. So his setup here for the arrow that you're seeing Fasta do at the moment is going to have to be a little bit different since he can't use the 3. I have to get up a little bit closer.
Get up on the platform here. Perfect. Okay, he knows what to do.
He's got his backups. It's good.
Everything's going smoothly. I think Fast does Napalm now on the last screens. There's kind of 2 different strats here on this last screen of Napalm. Napalm is the faster strat, but it's pretty hard to get down initially. So yeah, you have to time your jumps so that little Met that you saw him get hit by it originally. So you have to time it so that he doesn't open up until you're on the platform that he is, so that way you can fire a Napalm and kill it. So
yeah,
it's a pretty hard trick to do. It saves a few frames. It's really neat when it's pulled off. I didn't see if Prisi was able to do it. But yeah, Stone Man. Not a whole lot going on with him. He jumps up and he's invulnerable when he goes back down. So you just basically fire your shots. He can be very nice, give you the Happy Stone what happens is he'll do a short jump, and that will not initially he'll do the short jump, and that will not make him go down and be invulnerable. So it kind of gives you that extra wiggle room to hit him. So it saves a little bit of time, but really hard to get. I don't know exactly how it works, but it doesn't happen very often. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So Johnny, we'll have to speak for them. Who are they dedicating their chicken rooms to?
I've only seen one dedication so far, and it was Fasta's. And Fasta is dedicating his chicken room to Japan.
I like it. I like it. Very classy. Fasta's a very classy guy. You know, I wouldn't expect any less from him.
We'll see if Japan wants the chicken room by the time he actually gets through it, but yeah. So far, that's the only one. Prisi hasn't yet, and neither has Nero or Ohon, obviously.
So the chicken room is a very interesting room. There's a lot of kind of interesting movement in this. So you kind of have to hit the chickens with 3 crystals in order to kill them. But of course, like we have in all of Mega 5, there's a huge invincibility period between each of your shots. So you have to kind of time your shots specifically. Ooh, Fast got the good drop. Okay, so Fast got a really cool drop there. So he's going to be able to fire an arrow on the last screen. If he fires it right, he's got a 2-pixel window. Let's see if he can do it. Ooh, that's not it. I don't think that's it.
Nope.
Yeah, that's not it. So yeah, he has a 2-pixel window there. Very hard to get down. He was 1 pixel short. So if he does that, it allows him to traverse the entire room without having to do all this nonsense that he's doing right now. So it's an RNG drop, and it saves like 2 to 3 seconds at least.
And
so
Prisi got it.
Prisi got it.
So he is now right behind Fasta.
Yep. This is a race right now.
This could actually, like, honestly, if Fasta has a couple more pauses or something, Prisi could almost be tied with him by the end of this charge fight.
Better fight. All right, Prisi was able to get the first rock.
Manipulating stone, obviously, is quite the challenge. And here you already see they're really close now. Prisi actually gets the kill first.
Wow. So how that fight works is basically Power Stone. While Power Stone is on the screen, it's a terrible weapon because you can't use it. So there'll be pause buffering in order to get it off screen. However, if you time your shots appropriately, based on where charge is going and based on where your position is, you will hit all of your stones into him. And what that does is, even though all 3 aren't hitting him, this is great because all of them are off the screen, so you can now fire another one. So it saves a bunch of time if you can manage to connect as many hits as you can, because that way you don't have to pause the screen and lose. It's literally 1.3 seconds to pause and unpause. So it's a lot of time to, get to the menu. So Prisi saved so much time because he didn't, have as many pauses. So coming up to wave, we have this really cool bubble skip. So there's this bubble section that you have to normally ride up. You have some small and big bubbles, but what they're going to do is they're going to use super arrow to kind of so they're going to fire arrows at the proper position, and it's going to put them at the top of the screen. But that's not good enough to actually go through the screen. You have to actually position Mega Man in such a way that he's at the top of the screen when the bubbles are at the appropriate position. There's not a very big window to do that. So yeah, both Prisi and Fast are able to do it, no problem. And now they're going to do this little boat skip, so they can both get that. Yep, so Prisi was able to do it, and Fast was able to do it. Perfect. So what they're doing there with the boat skip is they're actually skipping a cutscene trigger, which makes them go in the boat. This is great because now they're walking on water. They don't have to deal with the boat. There's of course, a cutscene where Mega Man goes on the boat and a cutscene where Mega Man goes off the boat. So you skip that, and it allows you to buster this next little Acto fight, and that kind of saves a little bit of time as well. So the kind of downside to this is if you mess up the arrow in order to skip the cutscene, you can soft lock your game. So definitely got to be careful with this initially.
The drops in charge are blowing my mind right now. Nero also got the arrow, and he did it too. So really amazing. That drop
all 3 runners
is. I mean, it's not unheard of to get the drop, but I mean, it's also. I mean, to manipulate it, it's not like free. So
no, not at all. It's a really hard arrow to pull off. Yeah, okay. I really hope Ohon gets it so it can be 4. I've never seen anything close to that before. It'd be insane.
Yeah, that'd be pretty nuts.
Like, usually, if we have 4 people racing, maybe 1 will get it. Maybe. So.
You notice that, especially too right now, Fast and Prisi are actually not there, but they are. So they actually, since the game doesn't check for Mega Man when he's not in the boat, you can actually walk off screen, and that's another risk thing too. You got to make sure you come back on the screen, or you'll you'll soft lock as well. So they jump off and then they have to jump back on the screen, and their sprite doesn't come back even though their hitbox is gone also. But even though they're actually technically still there, so they can still shoot. It's kind of a weird thing in the auto scroller there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't expect you to be walking on water, right? So.
Oh, I mean,
no!
he got a drop.
He
If he had menued on the last one he killed, he could have technically gotten that big ammo, but
yeah, that's really rough to menu there, because then you have to actually like kind of finagle
Dodge
your way
the mouse.
through the rest of the so nobody really practices for getting the drop there. But
right.
now we're Mega Man 6. Take it away, gentlemen.
Yeah, this is the last game now of this category. So we've got 8 Robot Masters left for both Prisi and Fasta. Just like what Darkman was talking about in Mega Man 4, being underwater, not being able to jump out of slides. That's basically the story of this game. You can't jump while you're sliding. In fact, if you do try to jump while you're sliding, you'll just come to a complete stop. That's actually one of the weird things about this game, is movement really feels weird, because every time you slide in this game, Mega Man will come to a complete stop. He won't actually continue his momentum forward, so chaining slides becomes really important, because otherwise you're getting frames of standing where Mega Man's not even moving in the direction you want him to.
Kind of like the consolation prize, if you will, is because they give you all this nonsense of, hey, you can't jump out of a fight, but the kind of the invulnerability period that's in Mega Man 3, it's kind of similar in Mega Man 6. So there's kind of that. You can kind of mash through a lot of stuff again.
Yeah, which is really nice, having that ability back, because in a lot of ways, mashing can be a better solution to charging. Although in 6 now you can also charge while sliding again, just like in 4. So they really gave you sort of the couple things back that are really, really handy for the speedrun. You do, though, still, however, lose your charge when you take damage. So in the Buster fights, it's important to try to avoid taking damage.
So kind of the thing with the order. The order is pretty set in this game. Technically there are different routes, but nobody really actively runs them. Windman, because you have then Flame Man's weakness, and Flame Man because his Flame Blast is like incredibly powerful. It is really strong in this game. You'll see copious amounts of usage of it throughout the run.
Yeah, Flame's weapon does basically 4 damage to pretty much every single enemy in the game. So being able to like kill things really fast, you'll see it used like throughout some stages completely. Like that's the only thing you use. So.
All right. Well, I guess we have a minute. So Andy, go ahead, plug some stuff. What you got for us?
Sweet. All right, we have a $20 donation from Quantumplation. Ed for OOA, Heroes Never Die.
Nice.
And then we have a $5 donation from Andy that says, I Ate Your Pie is the best anime.
Oh, man.
Gotta support my boy, alright?
So that means
we also...
we have
More than one person said it now, so it must be true.
Yeah, it means I Ate Your Pie is currently in the lead for best anime with $10, and no other anime has a donation.
Amazing. Oh, Fasta slides right into Roland.
But yeah, go ahead, Andy. You got some more stuff to plug.
We also have like 30 more minutes left before this will be done, and the OOA incentives will be up. So Ed is actually taking the lead in the OOA file name, $130 compared to Mr. Nugs, $126. And then there's also
you can't let Mr. Nugs lose. Come on, guys.
Will McNuggies 420 pull through?
The animal bid war for Oracle of Ages. Dimitri, the friendly Dodongo, is still lagging a little behind. $35.20 behind Ricky, the boxing kangaroo.
Fasta getting stuck in the oil there a little bit, but he does get out of it finally.
All right. So yeah, kind of a tricky section, Flame, especially the last stage. There are parts in which if you get hit the wrong section, there's like one specific pit where if you get hit there and you fall in the pit, you can't actually get up because they don't have rush jet.
Right.
So, bit of a tricky section. So yeah, both of them were able to navigate it no problem. And yeah, you're kind of seeing power of Wind against Flame.
Yeah, the only real downside in this fight is that Wind's weapon travels downward really quickly, and if Flame jumps really high, you can't hit him when he's up in the air. So the only real RNG in this fight is how many times he jumps typically. But yeah, wind wrecks him. Your shots will go right through his flame pillars, which is huge because the Buster fight, you have to sort of have well-placed shots to still hit him when he uses that ability.
Yep.
So
Sick.
the reason we see this route more is just because flame first route, having all the weapons doesn't really improve how fast you can do Windman stage. You still Buster it, so it's really not any faster to do flame first.
All right. So yeah, kind of a couple of tight jumps in Blizzard. As you see, Prisi was able to do it, and Fast is going to do it right now. It's kind of a little tight jump here in this little pit. Fast was able to get no problem.
Yeah.
It's kind of tight because of the whole you have to cancel your slide and then jump over the pit. So
Yeah, and canceling on ice is really important to do A cancels on ice because if you don't do an A cancel and you do a turn cancel, you'll rubber band sort of the opposite direction. So an A cancel is really important so that you can maintain your momentum forward.
So yeah, it's kind of the hard bridge section over here. I don't know, I guess bridge isn't really appropriate, but like the submarine section. So you have to be really precise with your slides in order to get the farthest possible. Prisi got to the second spike area.
Which
It
is
wasn't able
fine.
to get all the way. Yeah, it's definitely good, but you can get all the way before the spike comes up and kills you. It's fast.
Yeah. These guys, unfortunately, aren't going to be probably going for the margarine pit slide, so they're likely not going to get butter, and neither one, unfortunately, was able to, but it's pretty tight. You have to have really good movement to catch that one cycle, so not surprising, honestly, that we see that second gap wait from both these guys.
Where's my bomb scoop?
I don't see it.
So anyway, Blizzard, there's a bit of RNG in Blizzard because he'll actually do either rolls at you or he'll fire his little snowflakes. So you actually don't want him to roll because basically you can't hit him while he's rolling. As you see, first you got a couple rolls already. But it's about 2 seconds each roll.
It depends. Like, Prisi actually got lucky because he got 2 right rolls, whereas Fast is going to get the left rolls, and so Handy's going to get a third one. So the left roll will cost you more because he rolls obviously all the way across the screen, whereas a right roll is really short. So not a huge difference, I guess, but yeah, about a second, I guess, on average for each roll.
Mm-hmm. So come up as the Widowmaker. This is Plantman stage. Lot of scary stuff going on in this stage. This basically, if you die in this stage, in the place that most people die in, that's about a 30 to 40 second death. So this could very well make the difference. And even if both of them manage to die, that means that Nero will be able to catch up. So let's see what happens here.
Yeah, this stage is also routed not really tightly on flame, but I mean, if you take a death at plant forms, like you say, your flame will be low, and you likely will not have enough to finish the stage that way again, too, so you'll have to probably do Buster strats, which is a little slower. We might actually just see Prisi do Buster strats. I don't actually know if he's going to even bother with plant forms, to be honest, which might give him an advantage, because it means Fasta's strats are going to be a little bit scarier here.
Yeah, so basically these little plant forms that are on the screen that you're going to see shortly, if you're able to jump precisely on them and again, once you're on them, you won't actually have to open them up. Normally you'll have to open them up, but the slightly riskier strats just say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep flame and I'm going to, kind of jump over them and hope for the best.
We'll see Prisi's menuing, so yeah, he's not going for it.
Safe.
Fasta, will he go for it?
I saw him practicing it. I think he's going to go for it.
He's
Okay.
got them. He just
All
needs
right.
to get through the springs now.
Okay, all right.
Which
excellent.
means he could potentially be closer to, not quite in the lead, but right back in there now as he's caught back up to Prisi.
Perfect.
Really, really nice. The harder strats pay off. That's about a couple seconds gained back there on Prisi, so.
Yeah, you want to talk about this fight, how it works?
Yeah, so Plant, and this works for any boss that has a walking, the ability to walk around. But if you stay in the middle of Plant's hitbox, the game gets confused, because normally Plant will do another jump sort of towards you. But the game gets confused because it doesn't know where you are, and so it'll force Plant into like this walk for a maximum length, and it gives you plenty of time then to get in a lot of hits. And you see Fasta getting 6 hits in on that one cycle, really nice. That's actually not really easy to do.
Nope.
And so the fact that Prisi was unable to keep his hits in order there gives Fasta an advantage again as he's back in the lead.
Yep. Yeah, 6 hits is the absolute max you can get on him before he jumps up again. So yeah, that huge time save. So
Nero unfortunately runs out of flame. He's got to finish Blizzard off. Gives Ohon a good chance to maybe make up some of that ground.
Yeah, so we got another cool race going on between 2 Japanese guys. So yeah, kind of Tomahawk, not too much going on, really. Not until the boss fight, at least. It's basically just using Flame. You're going to use Flame for the rest of the stage. You pretty much have near, if not perfect ammo for the rest of the stage, so wasting one kind of sucks, but it's not too big of a deal. There's definitely spots in which you can...
Yeah, there's places you can skip, like these Mets here that Fasta jumping over that last one. You don't have to kill them. Typically in this stage, an ideal scenario would be you get one small ammo refill, but I mean, you just gotta have to play it the way you want to play it. There's no real way to guarantee you're gonna get that, so yeah. But yeah, this stage, like you said, there's not a whole lot going on. It's a lot of really short screens. Like every screen, like you can see, it's like there's a lot of screen transitions. So you kind of have to focus. It's like, okay, I'm on this screen, I need to do these inputs, and then you hit the next one and you go like, I got to focus on this one. So it's kind of nice because it breaks the stage down a little bit, but it also kind of kills the flow of the stage a bit, just a little. So a lot of people really like the first room of the stage, and then, like you said, there's not a whole lot left of redeeming qualities for this stage. But the boss fight is really important because you only get exact ammo. So again, the longer iframes of 6, this is usually the place where we see people make a mistake and accidentally fire a shot into invincibility frames.
Let's see if Fast and Prisi can do this.
Fasta playing it really carefully.
Better safe than sorry at this point.
Yeah.
Kind of one of the interesting dynamics to talk about. So in their race earlier in the tournament, Fast had the lead because of Prisi's death early on, and he definitely, Prisi was definitely the one playing with nothing to lose in 6. He was playing really fast, and Fast was kind of a little bit sloppy to the finish. So that's kind of one thing to keep in mind and see, you know, how Fast is doing. Is he playing a little bit sloppy in 6, or is he performing well? So far, he's performed really well in 6, so it definitely bodes well for him if he's gonna, you know, finish in first.
Yeah, and with 3 stages left now, it becomes even more so important. Yamato's stage, this is typically considered to be the easiest stage of the 8 robots. And so that's honestly one of the most nerve-wracking things to think about when you enter this stage, because this is one of the few stages where it's like, okay, don't mess up here, because you know very likely if you make a mistake here, no one else is.
Yep.
So it's really sort of always in the back of your mind to not make any big mistakes here. I mean, yeah, sure, it is an easy stage, but sometimes it's easy to, you know, miss a cancel and fall off a ledge. Yep. So
kind of just update you. Ohon, unfortunately, in the bottom left, died in the last section of plant, so you're kind of seeing now he has no flame. He kind of has to go through the first half. You definitely can't do the platform strat anymore, so kind of the unfortunate thing of dying there.
Yamato's stage is the only stage where we're actually going to go to the alternative route. In the last 4 stages, Tomahawk, Yamato, Knight, and Centaur, they all have an alternative route, and each of them gives you a letter to get beat. But beat is not really useful, unfortunately. So you don't see us really collect those letters, but we do get the one here in Yamato just because it does cut down a few screens, so you're saving a little bit of time just in the stage in general.
Hey, gentlemen, how free is this fight?
It's pretty easy. Yamato is probably, I mean, he's definitely the easiest boss in 6. He's up there as one of the easier boss fights, I think. Fasta usually struggles with him. That's what a lot of people make fun of him for, but he had a pretty solid fight there. I mean, yeah. Yamato didn't give him a great pattern, but he didn't get hit, and that's very uncharacteristic, as most people would say, for Fasta. So
Prisi got hit, though. Shame on him.
But Prisi also gets the kill in the corner, which is a better spot as well. So,
all right, the consolation prize.
Yeah. So still right on the heels with 2 stages to go. This is really the last. There's really not very many screens left for Prisi to really gain time on Fasta without, you know.
Definitely think this first part of Night, though, is a huge one.
Yeah,
you know?
there's a couple screens in each of these stages that are going to be like the critical stages, and if they get through them without too many problems, then you're not going to see too much of a time swing, I don't think, but this is the first one here for Fasta. You want to be able to get through these, the ceiling here. Pausing at the right time allows the ceiling to sort of pinch you between the floor and the spikes, and you just keep sliding, which is really beneficial. You don't have to wait for the ceiling at all, and both him and Prisi get that skip, so really nicely done.
Yep. So yeah, kind of the thing about this stage is you're basically using Yamato Spear for the entire stage, just like in Tamawa. Yamato's even Nightman's weakness, so you have to be a little bit careful with your ammo here. You have enough ammo, you have a little bit of wiggle room, but you know, if things get kind of out of control, if the mad nerds are mad nerding you, then you know, you kind of use a little bit too much ammo.
Yeah, you also can notice that these spears arc slightly up and slightly down, and that's based on how much ammo you have, if you have like an odd or an even number of ammo. So you'll actually see sometimes them fire a spear just at nothing, because they're purposely trying to set their spears up to be a certain way, and Fasta nailing the Mad Nerd room there with that exact reason. You need your first spear in that room to be down for that strat to work, so he does a really nice job.
Prisi, though, he's feeling the wrath of the Mad Nerds. Can I get a Mad Nerd in chat, please? We need some Mad Nerds, man.
So,
Okay.
Fasta picking up a little bit of time here on Prisi as he's struggling a little bit too in the bouncy castle room, so we'll see what Knight does. Knight can be a jerk and jump, as he just did there for Fasta, so if he gives him a lot of jumps and Prisi doesn't get a lot of jumps, he can get some of that time back, and Fasta's getting a really bad pattern.
Jesus.
Knight being a big jerk, as
Oh my
per
goodness.
usual.
Wow.
See what he does for Prisi. Staying on the ground there, that's really good. Oh, really nice. So
Very
yeah,
nice,
just a
man.
nicer fight. Nicer RNG there for Prisi.
So yeah, this is gonna come down to Centaur, just like in the last race, too.
Unbelievable.
Oh my goodness. So, you know, Centaur is not a very easy stage. There's a lot of going on here. You could easily die in some spikes. You could easily die in a pit. And
There's 3 really big critical rooms. Room 1 is the first one. The water room is another one. And then I would say the waterfall room at the end. Fasta gets the Metroid boost. He goes for the low-fat miracle jump. He's not going to go for the standard one. So it's a little bit safer, but a little slower. And Fasta's going to go for the early night switch. Prisi, really risky there as he gets the high jump out of the water. Missing miracle jump there, so he has to back deboost, and thankfully he gets through it. Taking a lot of hits here early. So Fasta looking like he's through the second scary room. Prisi going for the buster strats here.
Prisi might be watching, and he probably knows where he stands right now, so that's kind of why he may be taking a few more risks.
Yeah, at this point you kind of have to, because this is the last stage, so you got to make your move now. Fasta's through the checkpoint room. He's really only got one difficult screen, quote-unquote difficult screen. It's not really that hard, but it's a little risky. Prisi's health is really low, so he's going to either have to kill these roll-in-type enemies or get the health, and he's going to kill them, so...
Gotta play it really safe now.
So yeah, this final room here for Fasta, this is like the last sort of place. Looking like he's going to get out of it.
Okay.
As long as he doesn't fall here. Alright, yeah, he should have it. He doesn't even go for the ladder jump, though, guy. Like, what is that?
You know, what can you do?
Unreal. Unreal. Maybe Prisi will go for it for us. Ooh, Prisi fell! That's gonna probably kill him there. Yeah, he doesn't have enough health, unfortunately, to take the hit.
That was very
So, really unfortunate there at the end, but I think he wasn't gonna quite catch Fasta anyway, so unfortunate there, but Fasta's gonna finish off his fight here with Centaur, and he gets a really good pattern, no teleports, and there it is. GG, Fasta finishes. His splits say 141-43. That's only the second 141 to ever happen in the world.
It's insane. Prisi was keeping up with the 141. He was on 141 pace as well.
Yeah.
So we actually were able to see both Fast and Prisi splits, and Prisi was very much on PB pace. So really unfortunate that he had that Centaur death.
Might have been the nerves too.
Could have been, yeah. Could have been.
Yeah, that's a tough section, that last section over there, and just one little mistake, unfortunately. But still, fantastic performance by Fast. Congratulations. Also equally fantastic by Prisi. Still, he's going to get a 142. Very respectable time, especially in a race.
Definitely.
So
But yeah, like you were saying, he was very close to a 141 as well. And meanwhile, speaking of close,
oh my
it's like
goodness.
right behind, only a few screens now behind Nero. Again, we're getting right near the end though, so he might be running out of time just like Prisi was, but he's made up quite a bit of ground here in Mega Man 6. Ohon, obviously not a stranger to this game, former record holder, and really, really solid Mega Man 6 runner, so we're definitely seeing the experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Andy.
for that.
All right, so we have a couple donations that came in. We had 420 from McNuggies 420. Dad, you raised me up so I can live my life the way it was meant to be lived. Hi AF. Thanks, Mr. Nug.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you very much, McNuggies for 20. We also have another 20 from ClickSpark. I hope everyone watches out for the spike wall.
Thanks, Sparky.
And then another 20 from Quantumplation, say Ed for OOA, damn it. So the file name incentive is going back and forth. Ed is actually in the lead with $150 compared to the $130 and 20 cents for Mr. Nug.
Ooh.
Mr. Nug has fallen behind once again.
Come on, guys. Don't let McNuggies down. He's our hero. You know? You can't let him down. You guys got 3 minutes, because that's when Centaur's over. That's when Owen's going to be finished. So, 3 minutes. Make it
You
up.
also have 3 more minutes to get your $5 in for that sick Mega Man button set.
So we are into the last stage for these guys too, so unfortunately for on here, he's gonna need Nero to make a pretty big mistake.
Yeah.
And likely, at this point now that he's hit the checkpoint room, he's gonna likely need him to either game over, or, which probably won't happen here, or take multiple deaths, because, well, I mean, one death at the waterfall might be enough, but it's gonna take that for sure for him to catch him. The early game, it was really what hurt him the most. I think we saw the Mega Man 2 deaths, I think, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah. No, the Mega Man 3 deaths for Ohon.
Or 3, sorry, yeah, 3.
Yeah. Died like 30 times in Gemini, I believe. Or 2, when they're there.
And Nero is over the pit there, so he should have third place here locked down. Coming into the final rooms of Centaur, there's not really anything that can go wrong. He's low on ammo, but even a menu over to Buster to finish the fight shouldn't be too punishing, so. But really nice job here by Ohon as well, though. I mean, played really solid in 6. Made up a lot of ground.
Yeah, still, very respectable time. Nero's probably looking at maybe a 145. Close to it. Yeah, he should have a 145, I think. Oh no,
He does unfortunately put one into the iframe, so he's gonna have to finish the fight off with Pow. He gets a teleport, but oh please don't. He got flashed, dude! He got flashed! Okay, he's dead, he's dead. You should never ever get flashed on Centaur.
No.
But
Basically,
yeah,
go ahead, tell me.
I was gonna say, a flash basically happens when either you or Centaur are not in iframes, and so he'll flash you if one of those circumstances happens. And Ohon finishes right behind him, so almost catches him in the end, but really interesting finish there. But GG to all 4 runners, grats to Fasta.
Nice gif we got going on in Nero stream.
See ya, Joka.
See ya, Joker. Sometimes you just need to go to the bathroom.
It's true.
Sometimes you need to sprint to the bathroom.
Yeah.
He may not have taken first, but he is number 1 memer in our hearts.
There we
definitely.
Go. That's right. Shout out.
We also-
let's get a Gim boss in chat.
We have another donation that just came in. $22 from What Is That Thing? Great race. Shame I could only catch the end of it, but congrats to Fasta and all the other runners for keeping it super interesting and fun to watch. Please bring Iwata back to the top for the LA file name.
We have another donation
Oh yeah.
after that one.
Let's take a look. We do. We have $20 from Divebuster. McNug for Oracle.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Dang.
What do we got? Is it tied? What do we...
This is heating up.
So Ed has $150 on the dot, and Mr. Nug is rolling deep with a 150 and 20 cents. Literally 20 cents ahead.
20 cents ahead. Oh my
The
god.
420 is always coming through.
Can you believe
Who's
it?
gonna drop that quarter on Ed?
Or who will extend the lead for Mr. Nug to secure?
Oh, this is insane.
All right, well, wrapping up here, I have the final times for everybody. Fast had 141.45, Prisi 142.45, Nero 146.09, and Ohon with 146.40.
Excellent. Great times.
Very nice run. Very nice.
Yeah,
Great job.
So yeah, I think we forgot to introduce ourselves, but I was Darkman. That was Chelmy. I'm the commentator.
Thanks
So,
for having me.
You guys
thanks
did
for being on, Chelmy.
fantastic job on the commentary, by the way.
Thank you.
Very easy to listen to.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So up next is Oracle of Ages, guys. So stay tuned.
All right, we'll
Oh,
find out.
baby.
We'll find out which file name it's going to be. You have until I set up the game to get those donations in. So stay with us, and we'll continue JRTA3 right here. Thanks again to all the runners and commentators from the 46 Robot Master race. It was an absolute treat.
Before we go to break,
Okay.
we have a $1 donation from Contemplation.
Oh my gosh.
For OOA,
Ed?
which puts Ed in the lead.
All right, Mr. Nug.
$151 to 150 and 20 cents.
Mr. Nug, you've got to go. This is your time. All right. We will close out the streams here and switch over.
Oh. Did you close it yet?
No.
We just got another one. We got $30 from Sonic Sword Cane. I believe in Ed.
Oh my gosh! He's gonna need $42.
McNuggies has just gotten sniped this entire marathon.
Can he pull through?
181 to 150 and 20.
All right. Well, it's time to find out. I'm gonna start setting up for OOA right now.